He had everything: money, cars, fame, and power. Yet, when it came to love, Armin had nothing but emptiness. So when his parents arranged his marriage to a simple village girl he'd never met, his first reaction was laughter, cruel, mocking laughter. "A poor, ugly girl from a small town. That's who you found for me," he had said, tossing the photo onto the marble floor of his penthouse. But fate, as it often does, had a lesson waiting, one that would turn his pride into tears and his arrogance into repentance. The wedding day arrived with all the glamour money could buy. The grand hall glittered with golden lights, yet Armin's heart was cold. He didn't even glance properly at his bride's face, hidden behind a heavy red veil. He felt he was doing her a favor, marrying her only to please his dying mother. The guests whispered. Some said she was too plain, too simple for a man like him. He didn't care. He was already planning a way to avoid spending time with her after the ceremony. That night, in their lavish new home, he entered the room only because his mother insisted. His wife, Zara, stood quietly by the window, her veil still covering her face. Armin spoke coldly. "Listen, this marriage means nothing to me. I did it only for my mother's sake. You can live your life, and I'll live mine." He didn't wait for her reply. He turned and left, slamming the door behind him. But before he walked away, he noticed something strange. Her silence wasn't out of fear. It was calm, almost peaceful. Days turned into weeks. Armin buried himself in work, while Zara quietly took care of the home and his mother. The old lady loved her deeply. "Zara is special," she told Armin one evening. "Her heart is gold, my son. You just don't see it yet." Armin smiled faintly, not believing a word. But soon, things began to change. His company faced a sudden loss, a major deal collapsed overnight, investors pulled out, and media headlines screamed about his downfall. For the first time in years, Armin felt helpless. One morning, as he sat in silence staring at unpaid bills and angry messages, Zara came to him. "You haven't eaten in 2 days," she said softly, placing a tray of food beside him. He ignored her. She didn't argue. Instead, she left a note. "Even when everything collapses, remember, your worth isn't built on your wealth, but on your heart." That night, unable to sleep, Armin picked up the note again. Something about her words touched him. It had been years since anyone spoke to him like that, not for his money, not for his power, but for him. The next morning, he asked his mother more about Zara. That's when he learned the truth. Zara wasn't uneducated or poor as he had assumed. She had once been a top student, a doctor who left her practice to care for her paralyzed father in the village. When Armin's mother proposed the marriage, Zara agreed only because she respected his mother's kindness years ago. She didn't want his money, she wanted to fulfill a promise she made to his mother when she was sick, to bring peace to Armin's heart. Armin was stunned. For the first time, he saw beyond the veil of arrogance he had worn all his life. He began watching Zara more closely, the way she smiled gently even when he ignored her, the way she prayed for his success without telling him, the way she carried pain silently but never complained. One evening, as he returned from a failed meeting, he found her crying quietly in the kitchen. She didn't see him standing there. She whispered to herself, "Ya Allah, give him strength. Even if he never loves me, let him find peace." Something inside him broke. That night, Armin couldn't sleep. The image of her tears haunted him. The next morning, for the first time, he spoke softly, "Zara, would you like to go out for dinner?" Her eyes widened in surprise. It was a simple invitation, but to her, it felt like a door opening after endless darkness. Days turned into weeks again, but this time differently. They began to talk, slowly, awkwardly at first, then deeply. Armin found himself drawn to her honesty and kindness. He learned she loved stars, poetry, and simple things like the smell of rain. He realized she was the kind of beauty that never fades, one that lives in the soul. Then came the moment that changed everything. One night, as they drove home from a charity event, their car skidded on a wet road. It spun, crashed, and everything went black. When Armin woke up, he was in a hospital bed with minor injuries. Zara was in the next room, in critical condition. She had pushed him aside at the last second, taking the full impact of the crash. He rushed to her bedside, tears streaming down his face. Her body was weak, but her smile was still there. "Don't cry, Armin," she whispered. "You finally learned to love, and that's all I ever wanted." He held her hand tightly, praying desperately for her to survive. Days passed before she finally opened her eyes again. And when she did, Armin fell to his knees beside her bed and said, "Zara, I was blind, not you. I saw your face but not your heart. Now I see both. I love you, more than anything I've ever owned." Months later, Armin's business rose again, stronger than before. But he was different now. The man who once mocked simplicity now spent his time helping orphanages and hospitals, inspired by Zara's quiet compassion. Together, they built a foundation for underprivileged children and named it Noor, meaning light, the same light that Zara brought into his dark, prideful heart. And whenever people asked Armin what changed him, he would smile and say, "I thought I was marrying an ugly woman, but she turned out to be the most beautiful soul I've ever known." It wasn't a story of riches or fame anymore. It was a story of awakening, proof that love doesn't always arrive wrapped in beauty or luxury. Sometimes, it comes quietly, humbly, and saves us from ourselves.